I love words. I suppose it's somewhat genetic, at least inherited. My paternal grandfather was a poet and playwright. My father had a broad, constantly growing vocabulary. Both my parents played with and invented words, so I always tested grades ahead when it came to vocab. My parents only deprived me in one area of language, foul language. I'm still grateful that their vocabulary of vulgarities was so anemic. I'm not saying I never heard swearing in the home. My father's knowledge of choice words, I'm sure, was as robust as any veteran, but he was very strategic in their deployment. The effect of him not normally swearing increased the effect when he did. Still, by today's standards, my parents' language would be strictly G-rated. One of my father's few indulgences was calling things with which he disagreed BS. My mother would always chide him, and he would always respond, "It stands for basic sediment." He worked in the oil field, and basic sediment was the useless black sludge left in the bottom of holding tanks. So judge for yourself if my father's interpretation of the initials was any less insulting than the common vernacular. Well, my mother's strongest denigration was to call a person a stinkpot. This word she applied only to the most cantankerous, obstreperous, and ornery rapscallions. I got intrigued about the derivation of this word. It turns out that the term stinkpot originally referred to a weapon employed by the Chinese in naval warfare. They were thin metal or earthenware containers filled with sulfur or other suffocating concoctions, and when hurled burning onto a deck of an enemy vessel, they burst into a toxic cloud of fumes. The enemy was either overcome or forced to abandon their ship in search of oxygen. Think of the implication of applying that word to a human. So I wonder, when you are heated, jostled, or shattered, what spills out of you? How does it affect those around you? Jesus said a good man brings good things out of the good stored up in his heart, and an evil man brings evil out of the evil stored up in his heart. For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. So don't be a stinkpot.